Hi, YouTube. Hi, everybody. It's been a week since I was last on, and I'm back again. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Subscribe and hit the like button. Um, and let's get on. Today video is title, I guess. Well, not I guess I wrote it, but I titled it "Loving Yourself." And what did I say? Knowing yourself, knowing who you are and loving yourself, keep the narcs away. And maybe not all the time, but just a backstory about me, coming from parents that were divorced, um, just growing up in that toxicity. Because my dad was here in the States and I was living with my mom until I was about 12, because I came here June or July of 92. Right after, in September, I turned 12. So growing up back home, just hearing my mom constantly talking about my dad, about, I guess, how horrible he was to her. And that can affect the child. So, I mean, coming here, not really speaking English well. Um, I was bullied a lot. A lot of times I had lunch in the bathroom. While everybody was going to lunch, I would go to the bathroom and just cry myself. And once lunch was over, just go back to class. So it was pretty hard. Um, and then being a kid that I was very developed, you know. Um, I always joke sometimes like I was probably like the only student that had big boobies, um, probably bigger than everybody in the school, in the whole entire school. So that affected my self esteem a lot, especially middle school. I remember in gym, it doesn't even matter. I always I had this leather jacket, and I called myself basically trying to hide my big breast. Um, it would be like 100 degrees outside, and I had my leather jacket on because I was really insecure about my body, about my big breast. And I remember one day these two kids, these two boys, talking about who was the prettiest girl, who was this and that. And they said, I was the girl with the biggest titties. And it just felt like I wanted to jump out of my body because I was just like, how did they know? I'm thinking the leather jacket was hiding my big breast. So to come from that and never been asked out on dates or anything like that. So I think a lot of that played a part with just being so naivete and not really having that self confidence. So going from not being asked by anybody for date and now meeting somebody, even though he was back home and gone and I was here, it felt good. And just having that conversation. So I say all of that to say, when we are self-aware of who we are and you have that self-confidence, I mean, it's different now about how I feel about my breasts, because you gotta love you no matter how you are, because it's part of me. You know what I mean? Unless I thought about getting surgery. Um, but I'm really not somebody that like going under the knife. So, but that's who I am. That's always going to be part of me. So, I guess until whenever I really decide to get a reduction, this is who I am. And I had to learn how, and I think it took the divorce to really jolt me back, like, nobody's going to love you if you don't love you. So, with just having relationship with toxic people, I think now I'm really aware, like, not really being in tune with my intuition in the past. Now you're much quicker at, seeing people if they're manipulative, like, this person is using me or anything like that. Because impact and super impact, it's because you want to be nice. You want to be nice to everybody, but there's got to be some boundary where you got to love yourself enough to say enough is enough. You can be kind, you can be loving, but just have that boundary. But there's no but. Just have a boundary and not letting people cross that, and that whole saying, when people show you who they are, believe them. But yeah, so as impact, it's hard, you know, trying to not hurt people's feeling, and that goes into people pleasing, because I've done that. Literally, middle school, I was buying friends because I will buy candy because I didn't have any friends. So to have people around me or just to have friends, literally, I was buying friends because I would buy candy and everybody wanted candy. So I would share it. And that's how I started developing. But I can't say they were friends because they were really talking to me because I was giving them something. So a lot of our traits and how we deal with impact come from really childhood. You know what I mean? And how we are and how people see how we are. And either some people will appreciate that or some people will use that to the advantage. So it's a process with anything. You live and learn. And when you get tired enough of people using you and, you know, trying to get over on you, you get that strength to say, okay, I don't think I want to put myself in that situation anymore. But it's it's not easy. And like I said in my last video, just it's a process. It's a process. But we have to get to that point where you have to love yourself enough to walk away from something that doesn't serve you, you know. And it's not simple. It's it takes time. It takes time, but it can be done. Um, yeah. So, and I know different situation that we grew up with in our backgrounds as kids. Hey, Tori, um, makes it really difficult. You know what I mean? Attracting people with narcissistic type of personality because they're all about finding somebody that they can take advantage of. You know what I mean? And use to no end. And thank God, by God's grace, like he's just always there. Even when I didn't know what was happening or what was going on with me. And it literally felt like I was a walking zombie. But it's not until everything is said and done and you think, oh wow, if God wasn't there, I don't know. I would have been in a asylum somewhere, like literally mind gone, gone. So the only thing, like I said in the video, that's really number one is just having that connection with God and just praying, because the narcissistic type of being, like they serve a whole different God. And that's the devil, the demon, whatever you want to call it. So, but in the end, we know God will always rule. He sits on his throne like he's God. He can end what anything that he wants to end, and he will still be God. And because he's so merciful, he has grace and mercy and loves us, that we still here, especially with everything that's going on with COVID. We just grateful and thankful that we healthy and well, and our families and those who have lost their loved ones. I'm sorry for your loss. And this is a time that we have to be there for one another and value each other. Like Tori said, we got to value and see each other. But people like that, they're not going to change. They are what they are. And then sometimes watching Dr. Romney video, and she says, they're not going to change. So you would, put up with it and just try to, I think in the way she puts it, like, just not having expectation, just lower your expectation, because they're not going to change. That's not a way to live. That's not life. And God didn't put us on earth to be mistreated and abused, discarded, they gaslighting you, mentally, emotionally abusing you. God didn't create us to go through all of that. But I think just learning from how I grew up and the insecurities that I had, it kind of made it easier, for him to know, like, okay, this is somebody that doesn't really love themselves. So I can take advantage of that weakness that they have, you know. So thank God for God's mercy and his grace. And I'm not the same person, thank God. And I think part of it has to do with, and it took a while. Like I said in the last video, it's not overnight, it's a process. But there was a part of me that I was so angry and just seeking revenge, and just, you did that, you did this, you did that. But I had to look, take a step back and look at the part that I played. And now letting him take accountability for the things that he was doing to me, because I didn't say anything. It was hurting, but I didn't voice my thought about how I felt about a lot of things, because I'm thinking, I've never been asked out before. And now I got this, husband, and I knew he didn't love me. It's like I knew as soon as he came here, I know there wasn't love, and I didn't, you know, over the phone, you have that hormone and having conversation, and I have a wild imagination. Just imagining all kind of crazy stuff. And then the person finally gets here and I'm like, this is not how I thought it would be. Even though I really haven't been experienced in relationship, I just knew this is not what I wanted because the person was very egotistical, self-centered, and not, I don't like that. That kind of turns me off. But I put up with it. I did. Because it's like, okay, I never had anybody. And then of course being embarrassed and shamed because my family weren't in agreement with the marriage. So I kind of felt like I made my bed, I'm gonna have to lie in it. So a lot of it was pride. Pride, just not wanting to let people know, oh, I made a mistake. I wasn't gonna let them know that. I was just gonna stick here and be miserable. So there wasn't love. There wasn't even like, I think in both ends. But like I said, I just put up with it because it's like, I don't think I can do any better. And I had to own that. So as much as it was what he was doing, now I have to look and say, what role did I play in that? Because that's the only way you're gonna heal. We're not victims, guys. So that's really, I mean, it took me like literally like last year for me to get this point at this point. Because remember, the divorce, this year will be 8 years. So it took 4 years to forgive. And after all of that, it was just being stuck in just replaying everything in my head that happened. The stories all over and over and over and over in my head to the point where it would drive you crazy. So this channel is really to gain that power back and reclaim our lives. We're not victims. We are victorious. That part. Nobody's a victim because you don't grow. And I was there. I lived that life where I wanted to be the victim. Look at me. Look at what he did. And I wasn't growing. I was stuck. So that's how I know. I was stuck. You know what I mean? So it's like this person hurt you, and now you are hurting yourself. No, they cannot win. The devil will never win. He will never win. So as long as we have God, we have the power in our hands to control what happened with us, how we deal with whatever we are going through with God's help. But it's doable. It's just going to take time. And I think I took too long. So I'm basically coming on here to say, don't do what I did. You know what I mean? Just work through that process. And the main thing is therapy, get the help. Sit down with someone professional. And especially if you have kids, deal with that so the residue doesn't get on your kids. You know what I mean? And like I was telling the story about me growing up and hearing my mom speak ill of my father, that did a lot to me. Because I came here in the States, like literally being upset with my dad. You would think I was married to him. So everything that she was feeding me, and I'm looking at him like this monster, you hurt my mom, you hurt my mom. We have to be able to differentiate the relationship with our parents and their relationship with each other. Because, we are the kids, we get stuck in the middle, almost like we have to choose. You know what I mean? Yeah, he wasn't a great guy, but he's still my dad. I can't divorce him, but you can. So I'm learning that for myself too, raising a daughter with the narc. So she will find out for herself who he is. And I've done it in the past. I'm guilty of that, where you thinking they're kids and you talking about the dad and all of the stuff that he's done, but they're taking it all in. And me growing up with that, I don't want to pass that on. I don't want to do to my daughter what my mom did. I have done it, but now I have to change my processes and not do that moving forward. It's between me and him. It has nothing to do with her. And I think parents, we have to be able, and it's hurtful. Sometimes you don't have a filter. You just feeling whatever you're feeling, but thinking about it in the long term, because it did affect me. It did. And just knowing how it affected me, now I have to make sure I protect her from that and stop. I've done it in the past, but now stop it completely, because you don't know what you don't know. But I know what it felt like. I know the impact that it impacted on me. So I have to be consciously aware of what I'm doing, because they're going to be who they are. Nothing is going to change, but I don't want to damage my kids. I don't want to damage my daughter, because that was between me and her dad. It has nothing to do with her. So all of that, we have to be conscious and just aware of what we're doing, just being aware of it. So guys, we are not victims, because that you don't grow being a victim. You can't really heal being a victim. You can't. So whatever the narc did, whatever, things that they've done, we still here. We're not dead. We're not in a mental institution. To God be the glory for that. So with whatever is left, just pick up yourself and just start living. Heal, love, live. That's going to be our motto. Heal, love, live. Heal, love, live. And for us to give God the glory, because without him, they wanted us to be gone. They wanted to take us out. So whatever light that we have in us is irritating to them. You know what I mean? They're irritated by our light. That's just too bad. It's just too bad. It's just too bad. So it's been a week since the last video. Come on, guys, subscribe. Hit the like button, and I'll be back next week. And like I said, it's going to be a variety of different things that we talk about. So basically, I'm giving the backstory. Like, sometimes it's how we feel about ourselves. Now, the stage that I am now, like I said, I can pick up a narc like nothing now. When people show you who they are, believe them. So it's easy now for me to see the signs and you don't ignore it. And part of it has to be with accepting the fact that you saw a lot of things, but you made excuse. We can't make excuses anymore. When you see it, it is what it is. Let's not lie to ourselves. Follow your intuition. I know I didn't. I know I didn't follow my intuition. It was all there. When everything came out, I'm like, oh my God, but I knew, like, I didn't want to believe it. I just said I wanted to see it with my own eyes, but you don't have to. Your intuition is enough. Your intuition is enough. You don't need proof. That is your proof. That's God speaking to you. That's God speaking to you. So, my background being me, not loving myself, me not accepting the whole me, my big titties, it is big. That's part of me. You like it or you don't, but that's not for anybody to like. That's who I am. It's all part of me. You take it or you leave it. So and I think if you have any childhood trauma too, get therapy. I'm really big on therapy. Like, it's, you got, you know, pray, God, of course. And of course, God made the therapist. So you can't say, like, oh, just do God. Yeah, God is number one. But He also created those therapists and psychiatrists so we can go to them and get the help that we need. So we're gonna be strong. Just hang in there. Talk to somebody, guys. Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Do the work. It's gonna be worth it. It's definitely gonna be worth it. So, like I said, we'll talk about different topics and 90-day fiance, because true story, that was how my knock got here, was through deception in trying to come to the United States. So we'll talk about that because I'll be watching that show and cringing like, oh, like, and I'm sure some of them it seems legit and like it's really, they like each other or they love each other. And other ones I'm looking at like, oh, it doesn't feel right because it's so easy to see other people's stuff. But when you in it, it's a lot harder to see it. So yeah, that show kind of gets me a little bit when you watch it and how people get treated, because you can just tell people are just being used to come to the United States. And I know because that's what happened with me. But yeah, we're just gonna talk about whatever and leave comments. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about. And like I said, maybe on the weekend I'll come and we'll just have a good old time, do some dancing. So, like I said, that's my passion. I love music. I love all kinds of music. I listen to everything. Indian music, African, because I'm African, of course. I like country music, pop. Rap a little bit, not too much. I used to listen to a lot of rap, but not anymore. Now it just don't sound like nothing. The beats be good, but it just sound like, what are you saying? I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah. So let's have fun. And like I said in the last video, do what you love. With me is just dance and listening to music. So that's part of the healing process, is just doing what you love. Whatever that is, do it. Do it and enjoy yourself. God has given us, a chance to come out of this. So make the best of it. Make the best of it. So thank you for joining me. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. I don't know if I'm doing that right. The thumbs up and subscribe. And this is Ra. It's Rahmat. That's how you pronounce my name. Rahmat. But everybody call me Ra. Rah, like Raw Digger. So welcome to my channel. And vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Just give it to God, y'all. Like, no one can fight your battle more than he can. I promise you. And there will be stories. You're going to hear them stories. You will hear the stories, like, literally. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do anything. God will avenge for you. And the only thing you have to do is just heal. And I thought I would be entertained by all the karma that came back to him, but I actually wasn't. I thought I would be cracking up and just getting a popcorn and enjoying the show, but I wasn't. I actually felt bad for him because we empath. We don't get entertained by using people and taking advantage of people. That's not who we are. Even if they have inflicted the pain on us, it's not who we are. And like I said in the last video, we can't let them change who we are. We are what we are. We kind, we loving, we beautiful from the inside and out. And no demon is going to change that. I'm not going to go through that, and you can't let me believe there's no God. That's a lie. We're going to bounce back and rejoice, give God his glory, give him his props. That's it. So come on, hit the like button, subscribe, and come on, and maybe I'll come over. I'll come back on live on Saturday and just play some music. And hopefully it will be okay. And I guess I would have to say, what is the saying when you're playing music that you got to let people know? If I got to remember that so I don't get sued. But good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me, and catch you next time. Like I said, hopefully Saturday, so we can have a little fun. So good night, everybody. Bye.